In today's unstable world, very few rivalries are as dangerous as the one between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran. On one side stands the most powerful military ever created, a global force that operates in every ocean, every sky, and even outer space. On the other stands Iran, a nation that may not match America in size, but has built one of the most feared regional war machines on Earth. Their conflict is not just political, it is strategic, ideological, technological, and potentially explosive. If these two powers ever collide directly, it would not be a short war. It would be a world-shaking event. So in this video, we will compare their armies, their air forces, their navies, their missile systems, their nuclear capabilities, and their future warfare technology. Let's begin. Defense budget and war economy. Behind every powerful military stands an even more powerful economy. Weapons, soldiers, satellites, fuel, and technology all require money. And this is where the gap between the United States and Iran becomes overwhelming. The United States spends more on defense than any nation in history. In 2026, US military spending is over $850 billion per year. This massive budget funds stealth aircraft, nuclear submarines, aircraft carriers, satellites, cyber warfare, artificial intelligence, and global military bases. America does not just build weapons, it builds entire war ecosystems. The United States operates more than 700 military bases around the world. This allows American forces to launch attacks, move troops, and resupply units from almost any region on Earth. Iran, by comparison, spends around $25 billion per year on defense. At first glance, this looks tiny, but Iran uses its money very differently. Instead of buying expensive jets and ships, Iran invests in missiles, drones, underground bunkers, proxy forces, and domestic weapons production. Iran avoids importing weapons and instead builds them inside its own borders. This allows Iran to survive under heavy international sanctions. The US builds global dominance. Iran builds resistance and survival. America's war economy is designed for long wars, global operations, and technological superiority. Iran's war economy is designed for endurance, regional control, and asymmetric warfare. If war begins, the United States could fight for years without running out of money. Iran, however, would rely on stockpiled weapons, local production, and regional allies. One nation fights with unlimited resources. The other fights with strategic efficiency. And in modern warfare, both money and strategy can decide the outcome. Nuclear power and strategic deterrence. Nuclear weapons are not just bombs. They are political weapons. They exist not to be used, but to make sure no enemy dares to attack. In this area, the difference between the United States and Iran is enormous. The United States possesses more than 5,000 nuclear warheads, making it one of the two most powerful nuclear forces on Earth. These weapons are delivered by intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear submarines, and long-range stealth bombers. This system is known as the nuclear triad, and it allows the US to strike any target on Earth within minutes. Even if America were attacked, its submarines hidden deep in the oceans could launch a devastating nuclear counterstrike. This guarantees mutual destruction for any enemy. Iran does not currently possess nuclear weapons, but it has something nearly as powerful: the ability to build them quickly. Iran has advanced uranium enrichment facilities, underground nuclear sites, and thousands of nuclear scientists. This gives Iran what experts call nuclear threshold status. It means Iran can move from 0 to nuclear weapons in a very short time, if it decides to. For Iran, nuclear capability is not about domination. It is about survival. Iran is surrounded by US bases, Israel, hostile Gulf states. A nuclear weapon would make Iran nearly impossible to invade. The United States, however, sees an Iranian nuclear bomb as a direct threat to global stability. That is why this issue has driven sanctions, cyber attacks, and secret operations for more than a decade. If Iran ever crosses the nuclear line, the balance of power in the Middle East would change forever. The US nuclear arsenal ensures global deterrence. Iran's nuclear ambition ensures regional fear. And this nuclear tension is what makes the US versus Iran rivalry one of the most dangerous on Earth. Missiles and long-range strike power. In modern warfare, missiles decide who can strike first and who survives long enough to fight back. This is the area where Iran is most dangerous and where the United States is most precise. Iran has built one of the largest missile arsenals in the world. It possesses more than 3,000 ballistic and cruise missiles, many of them capable of reaching US military bases, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and major Gulf cities. Some of Iran's newest missiles are hypersonic, meaning they travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound. These missiles are extremely difficult to intercept. Iran has also built thousands of mobile launch systems that can fire missiles from mountains, tunnels, and underground bunkers. This makes Iran's missile force very hard to destroy. Even if US aircraft bomb Iranian bases, hidden launchers could still fire deadly attacks. Iran's strategy is not precision, it is overwhelm. If war begins, Iran would launch massive missile waves designed to flood American defenses. The United States has fewer missiles, but far more advanced ones. US cruise missiles, like the Tomahawk, can strike targets from over 1,600 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy. American missiles are guided by satellites, GPS, artificial intelligence, and real-time battlefield data. They are designed to hit command centers, radar stations, missile launch sites, and leadership bunkers. While Iran launches missiles by the hundreds, the United States destroys targets with surgical strikes. Iran's missiles bring terror and chaos. America's missiles bring control and precision. In a real war, Iran would try to overwhelm US bases and cities in the region. The US would try to erase Iran's ability to launch any missiles at all. This missile duel would decide the first days of the war, and possibly the outcome, because whoever controls the missile battlefield controls the future of the conflict. Naval power and control of the seas. The United States Navy is the most powerful naval force in human history. It operates 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, more than 90 destroyers and cruisers, dozens of nuclear submarines, and thousands of naval aircraft. Each US aircraft carrier is a floating air base, capable of launching airstrikes against targets hundreds of kilometers inland. American submarines can remain underwater for months and can fire cruise missiles with extreme accuracy. The US Navy controls the open oceans, protects global shipping routes, and projects American military power across the entire planet. Iran, however, does not try to challenge the US in open waters. Instead, Iran has built a navy designed for regional ambush warfare. Iran operates fast missile boats, swarm attack speedboats, underwater naval mines, and small stealth submarines. These weapons are designed to operate in the narrow waters of the Persian Gulf. In the Strait of Hormuz, large US ships cannot maneuver easily. Iranian speedboats can swarm US vessels from multiple directions, while shore-based missile batteries fire from the coastline. At the same time, Iranian submarines can plant underwater mines that can block shipping lanes. Even a few successful attacks could shut down global oil markets, crash economies, and send energy prices skyrocketing. So while the United States controls the world's oceans, Iran controls one of the most dangerous choke points on Earth. The US Navy could destroy Iran's fleet, but it cannot easily protect every oil tanker, pipeline, and cargo ship. This makes the naval battlefield not just military, but economic warfare on a global scale. A single Iranian naval operation in the Strait of Hormuz could shake the entire world. Air force and aerial warfare. In modern warfare, whoever controls the sky controls the war. Air power decides which army can move, which ships can survive, and which cities remain standing. This is where the military gap between the United States and Iran becomes massive. The United States operates the largest and most advanced air force on Earth, with more than 13,000 military aircraft across the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps. But it's not just about numbers. It's about what those aircraft can do. The US fields fifth-generation stealth fighters like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II. These jets are nearly invisible to radar and can destroy targets before the enemy even knows they are there. American stealth bombers, such as the B-2 Spirit and the upcoming B-21 Raider, can fly deep into enemy territory, evade air defenses, and strike with pinpoint accuracy. These aircraft are supported by airborne radar planes, electronic warfare jets, aerial refueling tankers, and surveillance satellites. This creates a battlefield network in the sky, where every enemy movement is tracked in real time. Iran's air force is far smaller and far older. Most of Iran's fighter jets are upgraded versions of American F-14 from the 1970s, Russian MiG-29s, and Chinese aircraft. While Iran has improved these planes with modern electronics, they still cannot match US stealth technology. However, Iran does not try to fight America in the air using traditional methods. Instead, Iran has become one of the world's largest producers of military drones. Iranian drones are cheap, hard to detect, and can be launched in large numbers. These drones can attack military bases, radar stations, oil facilities, and even moving ships. Iran has already used drones to strike Saudi Arabia, Israel, and US positions in the region. The US uses drones for precision. Iran uses drones for saturation attacks. If war breaks out, American jets would dominate the skies, but Iranian drones would fill the air. The sky would become a battlefield of stealth fighters, radar jamming, drone swarms, and missile interceptions. This would not be a simple dogfight. It would be one of the most complex aerial wars in history. Active military and manpower. The true foundation of any military is not machines or missiles, it is people. No matter how advanced technology becomes, wars are still fought by soldiers who move, think, react, and sacrifice on the battlefield. This is where the difference between the United States and Iran becomes extremely clear. The United States maintains one of the most professional and highly trained military forces in history. It has approximately 1.4 million active duty personnel and nearly 800,000 reserve forces. But these numbers only tell part of the story. Iran has approximately 580,000 active troops and around 350,000 reserve personnel, but its real power comes from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, known as the IRGC. The IRGC is not just a military force, it is a political and ideological army. These troops are trained not only to fight, but to die for the state. Iran also commands a huge network of proxy fighters across the Middle East. Through Hezbollah in Lebanon, Shiite militias in Iraq, fighters in Syria, and Houthi forces in Yemen. Iran controls more than 200,000 armed fighters outside its own borders. These forces allow Iran to strike its enemies without officially going to war. If conflict begins, Iran would not fight only with its own army. It would fight through a regional web of allied militias. The United States fights with direct force. Iran fights with distributed power. America relies on highly trained professionals. Iran relies on mass mobilization and ideological loyalty. The US can deploy soldiers anywhere on Earth. Iran can surround its enemies from every direction in the Middle East. In raw numbers, the US may have fewer troops on the battlefield at once, but each American soldier is backed by satellites, drones, aircraft, and global logistics. Iranian soldiers may not have the same technology, but they have numbers, motivation, and regional reach. This makes any war between these two powers not just a clash of armies, but a clash of two completely different war philosophies: cyber warfare and future battlefields. Modern wars are no longer fought only with soldiers, tanks, and missiles. They are now fought with data, satellites, computers, and artificial intelligence. In a US versus Iran conflict, the first attack would not come from the sky, it would come through cyberspace. The United States is the most advanced cyber military power on Earth. It operates cyber command centers, space surveillance networks, AI-powered targeting systems, and digital battlefield control platforms. American forces rely on thousands of satellites to guide aircraft, missiles, ships, and drones. These systems allow the US military to see the battlefield in real time, tracking every enemy movement, vehicle, and communication signal. But this also creates a weakness. If those networks are disrupted, even the most powerful military can become blind. This is where Iran becomes extremely dangerous. Iran is one of the strongest offensive cyber powers in the Middle East. It has built large cyber units that specialize in hacking power grids, disrupting oil companies, attacking military networks, and spreading digital chaos. Iranian cyber forces have already attacked US government systems, Israeli infrastructure, and Gulf energy networks. In a real war, Iran would try to shut down US military communication, confuse radar systems, disable air defense networks, and disrupt satellite links. At the same time, the United States would use cyber weapons to erase Iranian command centers, shut down missile launch controls, cripple radar systems, and collapse financial networks. In this invisible battlefield, both the United States and Iran are preparing for a fight that the world may never see until it is already happening.